नकली चट्टों के प्रोटेस्ट को लेकर ईशा कोप्पिकर ने एक ऐसा स्टेटमेंट दिया
प्रशांत किशोर ने बीजेपी को उखाड़ के फेंक दिया है।
पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम हो चाहे इलेक्शन कमीशन हो, इन सभी इंस्टीट्यूशन से जनता का भरोसा उठ चुका है।
To anyone who consumes politics through Instagram Reels and feels intellectually superior because an influencer validated their opinion, here is the reality check that may one day follow you into your career. Soon, you will enter the workplace. At the end of the year, imagine telling your boss, I worked really hard, I performed well, I gave my best. Instead, your boss will ask you, what is the evidence? What improved? Where are the numbers? Where are the graphs, benchmarks, outcomes, and the year-on-year comparisons? Your feelings will not be accepted as proof of performance. So why should feelings, slogans, and viral reels be accepted as proof of governance? Opinions create noise. Evidence creates credibility. So before choosing a political side, choose a method. Before supporting or opposing any government, move beyond levels like fascist, socialist, nationalist, secular, left-wing or right-wing. Compare 5-year and 10 years data. Study ministry-wise performance. Check historical baselines. Compare targets with outcomes. Look at the government datasets, but also cross-check them with World Bank, IMF, PLFS, NFHS, AACR and independent research organizations. Examine every indicator separately. Be it economy, inflation, poverty, infrastructure, electricity, water, healthcare, education, employment, digital access, security, and institutions. Ask only 4 questions. What was the starting point? How fast did it improve? What is the present result? What remains unfinished? That is India's performance appraisal. Hi there and welcome everyone to the Foggy Mirror. One clarification before we begin. The BJP did not begin India's development in 2014. Previous governments built institutions, industries, universities, scientific capacity, the Green Revolution, economic liberalization and India's telecom foundation. India may be rising globally, but in tourism infrastructure, education and social security, it still has a long way to go. The million-dollar question, however, is did India's speed and scale of execution increase after 2014?
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जबकि प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा.
So let us check the dashboard. BJP's real achievement has been different. It industrialized last mile delivery. Last mile delivery means ensuring that the development reaches even the last person in the remotest rural village, not merely remaining an announcement in Delhi. And this takes time, but creates deeper and more sustainable progress. The first indicator is poverty reduction. Now, what does the data say? It says that multidimensional poverty fell from 29.17% in 2013 to 11.28% in 2023. Approximately 24.82 crore Indians are estimated to have exited the multidimensional poverty. The second indicator is roads and railways. National highways increased from 91,000 to over 1.46 lakh kilometers. Railway electrification crossed 99%, one of the strongest examples of post-2014 execution acceleration. But what remains unfinished is safety, maintenance, freight speed, and urban public transport. The third indicator is water and sanitation. Rural tap water connections grew from 3.2 crore to nearly 15.8 crore households. What remains unfinished is reliable daily supply, drinking water quality, sea-waste treatment and waste management. The digital access and financial inclusion is the next indicator. Jan Dhan accounts rose from 14.7 crore to over 57 crore. Internet connections increased from 25 crore to more than 100 crore. The number of registered GST taxpayers increased from 66.5 lakh in 2017 to 1.65 crores in May 2026. What remains unfinished is online fraud, cybersecurity, digital literacy, and converting bank account access to productive credit. These are not slogans. These are measurable changes in scale, speed, and access. The BJP did not invent roads, electricity, banking, or welfare. It built a delivery machine capable of taking them deeper, faster to more Indians. But access is not the same as development. There's a lot of unfinished work that still remains. Opening a school is access. Teaching a child to think is development. Building a toilet is easier than maintaining sanitation. Giving a tap connection is easier than supplying safe water every day. Opening a bank account is easier than providing affordable credit. These distinctions matter because the next phase of India's development cannot be judged only by how much infrastructure has been created. It must be judged by whether that infrastructure works reliably, affordably, and fairly. The first stage of development asks, can we build it? The next stage asks, can we make it work? What does the dashboard actually show? The evidence does not show that India has become perfect. It does not show that every BJP policy succeeded, but the dashboard supports a clear and defensible conclusion. During the BJP-led period, India's execution machinery became sustainably faster in several high-impact areas. Think of India's development as a 20-story building. By 2014, after more than 6 decades, the country had constructed the foundation, and roughly the first 5 floors was an achievement, without which nothing could have been built. Between 2014 and 2026, India added another 8 floors, not because development suddenly began in 2014, but because the speed, scale, and reach of execution accelerated significantly. The building is still unfinished, 7 floors remain, and even some of the completed floors requires repairs. Better schools, safer railways, reliable water, stronger healthcare, productive employment, and more accountable institutions. The honest conclusion is neither the Congress built nothing nor that the BJP has completed everything. Congress helped lay the foundation. The BJP demonstrated that India could build faster. The challenge for 2047 is to complete the building and ensure that every floor is safe, functional, and accessible to every Indian. At the same time, several ministries still require greater ambition and execution. Tourism infrastructure remains underdeveloped despite India's enormous potential, while education reform continues to lag behind the needs of a modern economy, and public healthcare systems, even in terms of quality, is still not great. Next phase of governance must focus not only on building more but also on reforms. Now, the historical reference point problem. A person who is 20 years old in 2026 was approximately 8 years old in 2014. They did not consciously experience the pre-UPI economy. They do not remember standing in long queues to pay your electricity bill or make any other basic payments. They may not remember shorter electricity supply for hours, slower highway construction, limited internet penetration, or many things for that matter. Therefore, many improvements do not feel like achievements. They feel like the default setting. The people unintelligent. It means their reference point and comparison point is different. They compare India with Dubai, Singapore, China, or Europe in 2026. Electricity does not feel like an achievement when the switch works. A highway does not feel like development when you have never traveled on the road it replaced. A tap connection does not feel historic to a child who has never watched a family member walk kilometers for water. Older Indians often compare India with 1991 and 2013 reference point. Both comparisons are necessary. The historical comparison tells us how far India has traveled. The international comparison tells us how far India still has to go. Gen Z should not be asked to lower their expectations merely because the past was worse, but neither should it erase the past and then declare that progress never happened. Know that previous generations built. Understand what your generation inherited. Then insist on improving it. 2047 is not permission to postpone accountability. It is a deadline to convert access to quality. But here's the message. Before supporting or opposing any government, ask for the performance dashboard. Do not begin with I like Modi. Do not begin with I hate Modi. Begin with what was the baseline, what was the target, what improved and at what speed, what stagnated, what became worse and what remains unfinished. Because criticism without a baseline is noise and support without scrutiny is propaganda. India is still imperfect, the government still deserves criticism, but imperfection does not mean absence of progress. And an unfinished story is not necessarily directionless country. On several of India's most important development indicators, the evidence shows the speed has increased, the scale has increased, the broad direction is positive. So the next time an influencer gives you a 30-second verdict on 12 years of governance, ask one simple question: where is the data? Not the reel, not the slogan, not the outrage, the evidence.